Good morning, everyone. It's Adrian from the UK, wherever you are in the world. Um, I wanted to talk about something quite um, reflective today. Um, as you get older, you kind of start thinking about what you've done, what you've achieved, where you're going. But one thing I do know, and it's very important, is always to chase what you love to do, not the money. Over the last 40 plus years, I've spent a lot of time in many different areas. I was a teacher, PE teacher, stayed in teaching for about 17, 18 years, became a deputy head, moved into the corporate sector, worked in big companies, went overseas for over 20 years, was an expatriate for over 20 years, predominantly in a lovely little place called Bahrain. I have many, many happy memories about my time there and what I managed to do and the lovely people I used to work with. The Bahrainis were fantastic people to work with, very gracious, very friendly, very open, very honest. And, the diversity of cultures that lived in Bahrain were massive. And in the UK, I utilize that sort of situation now. I do lots of things now, but I do everything that I want to do, that I enjoy doing. I have my own tuition business because I'm an English specialist in many ways. I can write well. Um, I can develop brochures and develop induction programs for companies. A lot of the time I spent in Bahrain, I was a trainer um, in training and development and did very um, action orientated programs. Many of you might have heard of them. Going the Extra Mile was my flagship. So I want to share a screen on my website and just take you through a little bit of my life and to say that I'm open for business and that I want to get back involved in areas where I can talk to companies, talk to people, motivate youngsters, try to advise people a little bit about how they should approach their futures and what they can add value to in their lives. But the main thing is don't just chase the money. If you do something you enjoy doing, the money may come anyway. So let's just have a look at some of the things that I want to do. So I'm going to share my screen and take you through. You can hear all the birds in the background. You can tell we're in almost like a nature reserve in my home here. So I'm going to share my screen and go to. So this is the first thing I want to show is my web screen here. And here's my sort of cover page. And I've got here English tutor. I don't put up so much about my training at the moment, although you can go to my training background down here. We'll go through each icon. I've read a book. This was written a long time ago. I wrote it when I was in Bahrain. And it says about when I was in Bahrain. So that was that. So what else? So come out of that. My tuition page. I now run my own tuition business and I spend a lot of time. I can do English for foreign students who want to improve their IELTS level so they can work in the UK. I work with students in Britain who do GCSE English. I offer business English for employees all around the world. So I can offer all these sort of things now. So that's another string to my bow. So go back to here again. when you start looking at the other things that I do too, one of the big things that I did, and this is a picture of me winning tournaments, I'm still playing on the ITF. So I'll click on there and you can see what that's about. So I'm a coach and a tennis player, etc., etc. Do some local coaching in Surrey, near London. But I'm also on the ITF. So when you go into my profile there, you'll see that I've done a lot of stuff, and it's coming up. What I've done, it's got my overview here. I'm Adrian, tells that I've, represented my country, I suppose. And there's my world. I do have a world ranking somewhere. Let's just have a look. See if the singles rankings. Oh yes, so my ranking in the world is 755. So again, it's another area, another string to my bow. If I go back away from there and go back to my home again, HAT, Adrian Henson Tennis, and I've got my LinkedIn profile that some of you follow me on here, and you'll see my link with the wonderful Kingdom of Bahrain, where I spent, as I said, 16 years. On my last stint, it was 13 years, from 99 to 2012, until I returned to the UK, and set up my own business there. So you can find me here, and you'll see my link with Bahrain with the way when it loads. These were some of the things that I did. Going the extra mile. There's some lovely Bahrainis there. And yes, there's lots and lots and lots of things that you can find out about from here. So if you look at my sort of name, it's AHT, and that just really stands for Adrian Henson, and then trainer, tutor, teacher, tennis player, coach, and author. Now, I put this as one of my, well, the book that I wrote, Inspiration Creates Aspiration, has always been my mantra. I believe if we can inspire people, we can infuse them to great things. It's not just about teaching people, it's about inspiring people, motivating them to change, and be brave. And this is my summary, really. I've been nurturing minds and bodies all of my life, all ages, all nationalities, and look for new ventures continually, and still will. Retirement is not a word for me because it means stopping, and I don't want to stop yet. So let's come out of there. I'll stop sharing that screen now and go back to me as you see me live. I still, as I say, play tennis. I'm still pretty fit. So look, on this video, there are connections to me. I feel I can help in some way or form any company, any employee, in some form or shape. It's been my life work, and it still remains as my life work. And with technology now, travel is not the only way to take my services. I do many things online now, many things. So if you're interested in some sort of support, or some motivational speaking, getting people up and doing things, we need to build in big companies and organizations, we need to build trust and loyalty. And sometimes life is not just about the business, it is about the people in the business. It's about the people that matter. And if you look after the people, the business will look after itself. I often see a lot of managers and and leaders of organizations who sometimes lose touch with the reality of what life is about. Like, we've all learned over this last couple of years about how precious life is and how precious it is to maximize your input in your life. You get a one chance at this, and you've got to do the right thing. I still come across people who are doing jobs they really don't like. So kind of follow your passion. What makes you happy is the way you will function the best. Don't just do a job. As I said at the very start, don't just chase the money. Look for a bigger picture. Even now, when I speak to 16-year-old students, because I have a lot of those, it's great. When you look to the generations coming up, but a lot of the generations coming up have been infused with this idea of materialism and chasing the money and chasing the dollar or whatever it is, but it's not the way. It's short-lived. Got to find what you enjoy, because life is precious. We don't have a choice about how long we can um, we don't know when we're going to die. We don't know that. It's a terrible thing to say, but we don't have real control over that. We can do the maximize our fitness and our health, but we don't choose when the day comes. So it's important that we choose how we're going to live, because that's one of the things my dad told me. He said, Adrian, you cannot choose when and how you're going to die, but you can choose how you are going to live. And retirement, it's not in my dictionary. So if you want some help and support, get in touch. I would love to reconnect with many of the wonderful people in Bahrain, and maybe help in some way, whether it's English language, because people need the English language to progress. It's an international language. It's used in health and safety and in most of the areas in the world for pilots and people flying and air traffic control. They have to speak this common tongue because you need to have that common connection. And obviously, I would advocate British English, but I guess some of you speak American English, but my advice is do the British English. Anyway, many, many things. Check me out. And honestly, put a request in if you want some help. Just, asking a question of me, it costs nothing. Maybe it'll cost you something if you employ me or contract me, should I say. I'm not employed anymore. I'm self-employed. Or as I sometimes say, when times go a bit quiet, I'm self-unemployed. But at least I make that choice. Anyway, it's great to speak with you. Please get in touch with me and your comments. Thank you very much. Take care. And it's a beautiful day in England today. And you can hear all the background noises, probably the planes, the birds, the trees, everything. Take care.